Hey guys, Jamie here. Well, it's been a while. How long has it been? I think March since I've last been on camera. So my apologies. I think life has got busy, and as the season starts to slow down, I've been back at work as well, off the farm. So we've just been trying to juggle a few things. And for those of you who know, my car got written off back in March, and unfortunately we bought another car, and we've had a few issues with that car. So it's all been a bit tight at the moment, but things are looking a bit more positive, we hope. But anyway, I just thought we'd get back into the patch, because even though we are at the very end of the season, there's still lots of colour. You can see behind me, it's still putting on a bit of a show. So we thought we'd have a bit of a wander, see what's happening and where we're up to. So now you can see through the paddock, I mean, there's still some gorgeous colours. This is Flowerly Kindness. And as you can see for the eagle-eyed, we've got some beautiful colours. They're still trying to open, but we've got a lot of these blown centres, which means the bees are coming in, which is fantastic, because obviously that means we can get seed. And as you see, stems are getting a bit weaker and these babies just fall off in your hand. You can see we've got Bronze Medallion. Isn't that just a gorgeous little peachy colour? You can see if I wobble these, there's really not much attachment there anymore. They're just, that's the thing, they've been pumping out flowers all summer long and now they're a bit tired like me. So whilst we're all waiting for the first frost, and obviously that'll start when we can start a big cull and cutting everything, well, I would say cull, but cutting everything back, ready to put them into hibernation, which then means we're able to dig them and divide, ready for our sales. What we're doing is looking at the varieties we want to breed from and trying to eliminate the ones we don't. So we've already gone through our paddock and pretty much wiped out every single flower which is a single. So your collarettes, your singles, most of my cactuses have gone, the orchids have now gone. So basically when the bees are travelling around the garden, they're going to those nice big doubles. The water lilies are still in the garden because I do like them. But your water lilies and your decoratives predominantly is what we've left, so that the DNA within the seed hopefully is a higher probability that's what we're going to get seedlings of. Obviously, for those of you who know, where it's a numbers game and we're fighting against genetics all the time. I've just seen a really beautiful one I'm going to have to show you. Just look at the colours of this dusky pink, and it wasn't actually this dusky earlier in the season, so it's a late season one, but this is Flowerly Oracle. Showing you a few oracles now, Flowerly, sorry. But these were bred in Ballarat, and you see there when they get the centres going, but that perfect one we just had, look at the gold on the tips. So as we digress just then, so basically what we're now doing is going through, as I said, and looking for what we're going to keep seed from. So basically, I'll show you this. As we're going through, I'm kind of deheading and getting rid of this kind of stuff, because there won't be any seeds in there. You can feel there's nothing underneath, there's nothing of substance left if we get rid of those petals. Now having all these petals on the flower too, because traditionally they're a single flower, so having been bred by us to produce these beautiful flowers with all these petals, the petals can get in the way and sometimes stop the seeds being able to develop properly. So if they get wet and powdery mildew and things, you see all these dead heads, they'll start to rot on the plant. You can see this is going really mushy, and that can obviously affect the quality of the seed we're able to produce or collect. So we try and get rid of this. So these will all be cut back because they're too far gone. But what we're looking for is, like over here, you'll see these really nice green ones. We've been, oh, that's a caterpillar. Well, there you go. We didn't want him either. But we try and squish some of this solution out, or the excess liquid, that helps stop them rot. And also when we're looking at them in the paddock, not that one because that one's not opened yet. Here's a good one. I'm going to try and do this one-handed. But what we can try and do is, now the pollen's all there, so we'll gently actually pull some of these petals out. You have to pull them all out because I mean, at the end of the day, the petals are still somewhat helping the bees come in, but the pollen's drawing them in too. So then obviously when that starts to form, like this has, and dry out, that's getting quite hard in there, we're ready for seed. Now these are probably still a bit early, but if we start having a look in here, there you go. You can just see in there, got the first seeds, so they're probably about right for picking. I might give it a couple of days, it's still a bit moist. But obviously that's going to be the seed we start collecting, and storing over winter, ready for the breeding program next year. And just look at that one. I mean, as I say, they just literally fall off in your hands. But just look how the perfection of that. I think that one is light and soft to gleam. So that's a really good show flower, as you can tell. Look at that, the perfection of that. And it has a really nice head attachment at 45-degree angles when we're growing throughout the season. But it's not all doom and gloom. Obviously, autumn is in the air. Mother's Day is around the corner. We haven't really done much for Mother's Day this year. We're not going to plug it too hard. We've got a couple of pre-orders for some flowers, and obviously with our focus being around dahlias, traditionally we don't have dahlias for Mother's Day. It's the frosties, they're at the end like you've just seen, but the frosties here. You might get enough for a couple of bunches, but we have got a few things in the ground which will help give us some colour for those bunches we're doing. So the Scabiosa is coming out into full form at the moment. Just look how whimsical they are, and I love the escapism they give to bunches too. We'll still have paper daisies, I don't think they're ever going to die on me. We've got starts of a few snappies. Now these are just seedlings but carried over, so they're not for use, but I'm going to collect seed off them. The dogs are having fun. But we have got a, oops, nearly fell over and tripped myself up. Small crop of snapdragons up the end here. We may still have enough of the Queenie Lime zinnias, they're still going. But again, same as the dahlias, they're getting powdery mildew now. They're looking a bit tired, and predominantly I'm trying to keep the seed from them for next year, and hopefully we can share some of that with you. You can see we've got a lot of seed heads here, and all the seed is attached to these little, if I can get one out now. There you go. They're like little spearheads. That's probably not the best example. You want them nice, big and plump. There you go. So that's the next big job, is going through and sorting all those seedlings out and getting rid of all the excess foliage we don't want for the year. But then getting ready for our spring crop, we've got our stock over the back. We've got our statice. We have got a small row of amaranth, which is mainly just for my fillers, and I probably got it in too light, and I don't think I'm actually going to get any flowers of worth this year. They're literally just starting there, but even if they give me a couple of centimetres, I can still use them in Mother's Day bunches. More stock. Sweet Williams are all in flower. That's more baby statice at the end. We've got Boris, obviously he's ready for his dinner, and all the peppercorn just about to burst into colour. Now if you haven't seen peppercorn using a bunch of flowers with the berries, they're really, really soft and subtle, and they're gorgeous. And for those of you who saw the Anzac Day wreath we did this year, that was a really, really nice touch, I think, when we added that in there. Old Boris. And then we've got all our inoculi. They've all just been planted in the last couple of weeks, so they're seedlings, and there's another row of them over the back, and we still have rows over here to fulfill. And yes, the babies, even the babies, so some of you knew we were putting the dahlias into the ground really, really late in the season, like literally end of March I was still planting out. And as you can see, on the whole, they're all still going really well. We've got some gorgeous little flowers happening right here. Look at that one. This is Coral Isle, and the perfect size for cutting if I just wanted to use one flower. And we've got a nice little one here too. And if that wasn't enough for what we're doing on the farm at the moment, the next step is, or we've just started this week, is our cutting program. So basically any varieties who performed really well over this season but we may want a couple of more of, any which we know were a bit tricky last year to pull through winter in storage. Anything I planted one in the ground of, because ultimately when we did all our cuttings at the start of the season, there's stuff I only had one tuber of, and I was like, oh yeah, never purple or never pink. It can go in the ground. And obviously as they've grown, I've fallen a bit in love with them. I've used them quite well. I think, well, we might need a few more of them for next season, so we'll do a few, probably 200-300 I think, cuttings now, which will then overwinter in the greenhouse, ready for spring. I just thought we'd have a very quick look around the garden and some of your projects. So for those who don't know, this is our house, the old creamery, so it's hidden in there. And if you've seen pictures of it originally, all of this was lawn. It's quite amazing how it's filled itself in over time. And we always have a cat somewhere. And as we walk through the paddock, So it's obviously a bit bare at the moment. We've probably overgrazed a bit this year, losing some space, and we had a very productive year with babies on the farm last year. So this year's obviously been a lot of food brought in, but we'll be looking at what we do with those numbers shortly. The big project of the last couple of weeks has been, obviously the animals going crazy, but is this paddock over the back. So we've actually finally managed to get the irrigation under the ground. So when we get the tractor through and we seed and everything else, we're not damaging any pipework. So that was last week's job. And now we've seeded and we're just waiting for this to come back into full growth, I would say, so we can get the sheep back on here. Look at that sunset tonight. Gorgeous sunsets in autumn. And you probably can't see because of the sunset, but we had the neighbours come in with the big tractor and they banged all the posts back in. So down the front here, originally had pine trees. We had a whole row of pine trees, and then one summer they all just literally killed over and dropped dead. So we had to have them removed. So now with the new pine post, it'll separate the animals out so we can have a foliage area along the front. The downside will be we'll lose some of the sunset, but we can grow all of our trees, give us some privacy again, and make it all look beautiful. Here's the guinea fowl. So they are the little, I call them the army of the farm. So they are integrated pest management control. So they are beautiful to have on your crops, because whether they keep snakes away or not, I don't know. But you can see here, look, they're even going through all these new seedlings of grass coming up, and they're not actually touching it. They're actually looking for the bugs. So predominantly they live on bugs and insects. Very, very small matter of green. They don't scratch around like chooks. So they went through the Dahlia farm nearly every day. They were living down there. They've had eggs down there, and never once have we had any issues with them damaging anything of value. So good little investment if you've got a bit of space. They can be noisy. Whether they do control snakes, I don't know. They just make a lot of noise when they're a bit alert, but they're quite quirky. You get to have quirky things on a farm. So in the back garden, we've still got, look at how gorgeous these are, but the hibiscuses are still trying to flower. They're not ready to give up yet. As you come through the back, autumn garden's just bursting with colour. We've got some of the climbing roses still trying to flower. There's a few dahlias all filling here, but it's a bit of a mess. So basically we had about 300 dahlias in this area last year. And obviously with moving things across the farm, things have moved around, and then we're now refilling this with excess stock and things like that. So there's a few bare holes, but to come around. For those of you who like the exhibition style, that's Glenmark Filly Liz. Now, for those who love reds, I don't think you can get a better true red than Dragon's Blood. It's even darker in real life, but it's a pain in the ass as a cut flower. You really have to manage that plant to get the nice long stems, but it is worth persisting with for the yield you will get, and it seems to be a really strong variety tuber wise. And so we've definitely got a mess over here. Everything's just collapsed down, and I do need to come and cut them back, but these were all mysteries. So these are tubers we bought in, weren't really sure who they were, so we thought when we got them we put them in an area like we do every year and we can work out who they are. So we've worked out this is now called Ken's Gala. Nice little collarette, so that will come out now because obviously I don't want the bees spreading that pollen around the garden. Just look at this one. Hello you. This is called Ruby May. It's a new one for us this year. And also by growing them in isolation over this side of the farm, if there's any issues with the stock, we can get rid of it without tarnishing any of the good stuff we've got down the paddock. So it's quite variable, but I don't know, it's like a plum colour, isn't it? I think it's going to be a really nice colour. It's a good size. It's for filling bouquets, and obviously you get smaller sizes too. But this colour is going to be really good around Valentine's Day. So we'll see what it does next year. We'll propagate a few over winter. So my dream project of having a big show garden to show people at the top of the driveway didn't really happen this year. It became overfilled for stock and neglection, but that's okay. You can't achieve everything. In some ways, this was actually going to be the main goal of this year, and down there was never actually going to happen, and then things turned around a bit. So that's life on a farm. Things evolve. But no, we've still got beautiful flowers down here. There's a lot of stock just being kept for tubers for next year, and we know what's happening with them. French watermelon over the back, for those not French watermelon, Pentel watermelon, which you've all been loving in the bunches. It's just divine. And I've been showing it back, but just look when it's en masse. It's not really en masse, but you know what I mean. Let's see the colours. And I'm actually really liking it now that it's starting to, I guess, give me the smaller heads, because I mean these are divine, but there's only so much you can do with them. You can get some pollen in there, whereas you get the nice little usable hand sizes. Like for Mother's Day, they're going to be beautiful if I can keep the stock going long enough. Same with Black Macopa. I mean, again, just look at how dark and beautiful that is. And it does look, when it blows its centres, they just look messy. And I don't expect anyone to really fall in love with them like that. But just wait until I show you pictures of them next season. I really don't think I took any this year. But they're beautiful when they're doing what they should be at their peak. Same with Corbel Jesses. I mean, you've got the really nice pastel colours in here. You can see some of that fine marking in there. But from afar, you still get quite a nice display. And we're going to finish up really quickly, just see what's happening in the shade house. So, autumn jobs, we start clearing out all of the plants we've lost, because evidently we do lose things, same as everybody. But in here, one of the big upgrades we did was our automatic sprinkler system. So this is by Netafim, and they work really well. So these little sprays, even though they're so tall, water both sides of this greenhouse. So there's 5 of them in a row. But you can see we've got all of our ranunculuses for the guys who've bought them online from us. Thank you. We can't wait to share them with you. They've pretty much all been planted up from these little plug trays they came in, and we're now just helping them get established, so when you put them in the gardens, they've got the best chance of success for you. My winter seedlings are all just starting to perk up. So we've got a mixture of stuff here for spring. We've got Dahlia Central. It's all pot tubers, essentially for when we start the season in spring. We'll have mini tubers so we can fit more out on our propagation beds. Some really nice colours in here. Just look at that. I've got to work out who that one is. I am tempted to say that this was Florally Oracle, looking at the top, but then it's kind of changed. Maybe it's the Formerly Monarch. I'll have to look at that. And we have cats having a fight. We've got Woden Valley, perfect for weddings. And we're just looking at the chrysanthemums are starting. I said I didn't really want to grow chrysanthemums, but I got given cuttings from someone in our Dahlia Society, and they've sat here all season, the poor things, but they're flowering. Oh, dahlias. And for those who remember, Gareth and myself, we actually dropped a load of cuttings this year. And obviously then when you have a mixture of cuttings, you don't know who is who in the zoo. So a large percentage of them in here are actually just waiting for them to flower. So we hope they'll flower before the frost gets them. They are a bit shaded in here, but obviously as we're going through, we're seeing flowers. We're able to then identify who they are, tag them, and then we know we've got what we've got for next year. No one, I'm actually quite falling in love with this one. I really wasn't sure I would, but it is more of an open centre too, but it's just very informal and a bit whimsical. So anyway, that's our little update on the farm. I know it's been a while, and as I always say, I will endeavour to come on videos more often, because I know how much you all like them, and the feedback we receive online and through YouTube as well is amazing. I just can't believe really that after our first year, and we go and look at some of the stats in the background, the amount of people who watch our videos and tutorials we've done on YouTube is just amazing. So thank you. Thanks for following us and our little journey on the farm, and we can't wait to sorry, the dogs are having a go at each other. Can't wait to share the next stage with you. Have a great day.